So I just heard that they broke into the office of one of my personal attorneys, good man, and it's a disgraceful situation. It's a total witch hunt. I've been saying it for a long time.
So that was President Trump about an hour ago unloading before the cameras tonight after news that his longtime lawyer was raided today by the FBI after a tip from the special counsel Bob Mueller. For more on how all this went down, Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge trying to piece together the story tonight from Washington. Catherine, what do you have at this hour?
Well, thank you, Bill, and good evening. A source close to the Trump legal team told Fox News that the Cohen raid was, quote, a big deal, very aggressive, and also an attempt, in their words, to squeeze the president. The source said the raids on Cohen's office, apartment, and temporary hotel accommodation probably seals the fate of a near-term interview of the president by the special counsel using the terms puts a fork in it. Also, seizure of attorney-client privilege materials will require a clean team now to determine what can be used by investigators and what really is out of bounds. This can be done by a magistrate or a team of FBI agents. But for some context, given Cohen has been cooperating, the source said that there is a high level of distrust at this time. Also, there are special procedures in place to raid the office of an attorney because of this attorney-client privilege material. So there's a very high threshold to sort of understand for our folks at home. You have to cross that high threshold in order to obtain these materials, and they would also have to show that all other avenues have at this time been exhausted. It's also worth noting, based on the special counsel memo that I have here, that they would require permission from the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein in order to expand the investigation to what the New York Times is reporting to be FEC violations. This memo was drafted in August of 2017 by the Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, and it lays out the scope of the special counsel mandate. And it specifically says that if they come across evidence that seems outside that original mandate of Russia collusion or coordination between Russian officials and the Trump campaign, they've got to get permission from Rosenstein to move forward. And if that was a case here, they would need concrete evidence to make that case to the Deputy Attorney General. So that may well be what happened late today, Bill.
Well, Catherine, thank you for all that. Live in Washington. Come back if you get more, okay? The legal implications right now with our senior judicial analyst, Judge Anna Napolitano. Good evening to you.
Bill.
You've been listening to a lot. Catherine's reporting, Sean Spicer's reaction, the president's reaction as well. Piece together what you believe is happening.
It appears that Mueller's team discovered some evidence of crime in the possession of Michael Cohen. It might have been what they believe is a crime committed by the president and told to Cohen, or it might have been something independently committed by Cohen. I happen to believe it's the latter, and we'll explain in a minute. Bob Mueller then gave that information, because it's outside his purview, to the acting U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, Jeff Berman, an appointee of Donald Trump. His team looked at it, went to a federal judge in Lower Manhattan and said, we have evidence of criminal behavior here. Very high, strong evidence, because we want you, Judge so-and-so, we don't know who the judge is, to invade the attorney-client privilege. We are asking for a search warrant to invade the office of Michael Cohen, whose principal client is the President of the United States. Whatever they told the judge was sufficient to justify the judge. They, the team of federal prosecutors in Lower Manhattan, not Bob Mueller's team in Washington. The judge signed the search warrant. There are apparently 4 search warrants, and the raids occurred early this morning and throughout the day.
A couple things here, then. So this was daybreak earlier today?
Yes.
There was a fire on the 50th floor of Trump Tower on Saturday night. Cohen's office is on the 26th floor of Trump Tower.
Right.
These men were hand in glove for a long time on a lot of things. Trump was his only client?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. Apparently, Michael Cohen has 2 offices, one across the street from where we are now in Rockefeller Center, and one on the 26th floor of Trump Tower, where he did the legal work for Donald J. Trump, the human being, and for all of the entities owned, operated, and controlled by the Trump organization. Now, look, Catherine is quite correct, as always, when you're talking about invading the attorney-client privilege. If the court can be satisfied that the client, the president, revealed a criminal act to the attorney in order to hide it under that privilege, or a fraud that the client committed to the attorney, or a tort, an act of civil wrongdoing to the attorney, the privilege can be invaded. What else could they have been looking for? And this is what I bring to you now. They could have been looking for plain, ordinary bank fraud on the part of Michael Cohen, to wit, when he refinanced his home in order to gather the $130,000 to pay Stormy Daniels. Did he tell the bank truthfully what he was going to do with the money? If he did not, that arguably is bank fraud.
You have to disclose to the bank what you're using the money for.
Correct, no matter how
based on
tawdry
law.
it may be.
And if I said I'm doing it to remodel my house, and you can actually tag the money and trace it to a payment that I made to
what I'm suggesting,
Stormy Daniels.
What I'm suggesting to you is Bob Mueller may have passed this on to the federal prosecutor here in New York City.
Why doesn't Mueller manage it? What would be the reason for handing it off?
Too far out of the realm even for Bob Mueller. What Michael Cohen told his bankers when he borrowed the $130,000 to pay Stormy Daniels. And that, of course, has nothing to do with any criminal behavior by the president.
So this was his office, it was his home, it was his apartment?
His apartment is being remodeled. That's why he's living in a hotel. So 2 offices, the home during the remodeling, and the hotel room where he's been staying during the remodeling. 4 search warrants, 4 raids.
In a word, how would you characterize this tonight? How serious a matter is this on the legal front?
I think this is a bridge too far.
On Mueller's part?
If Bob Mueller instigated this, again, this was reviewed by another pair of eyes, a Trump appointee here in Manhattan, and I think it's seismic. I think this will bring about a reaction on the part of the president beyond what we saw a few minutes ago.
Get back on the phone. We'll bring you back, okay?
Thank
you, Judge. In a moment here, President Trump now also strong words on the atrocities in Syria, saying a decision could come tonight on how the U.S. will respond. Our military experts are on standby for that. They will join us next on this.
We're making a decision as to what we do with respect to the horrible attack that was made near Damascus, and it will be met, and it will be met forcefully.
Hey, what are you guys doing here?
We're Voya. We stay with you to and through retirement.
So you'll still be here to help me make smart choices?
Well, with your finances, that is. We had nothing to do with that tie.
Voya, helping you to